My name is Karen Bojar. I've been a committee person in the 9th Ward for 32 years, which is ridiculous. And it's kind of what's wrong with the Democratic Party. There are people who hang on to these jobs for 30, 40 years. There are committee people and ward leaders in their 70s and 80s. And there's a real resistance to generational change. But fortunately, younger people are giving this a little push. And I decided to write about my experience as a committee person. I wanted to make a case for doing this kind of work, but I also wanted to make sure that if people did go into it, they went into it with their eyes open. Because I realized that I'd had a great experience in the 9th Ward, which is committed to democracy and transparency and empowering committee people. And in the beginning, I thought it was all that way, but then I soon learned that there are only 5 wards in the city: the 9th, the 8th, the 5th, the 27th, and the 30th. Prior to 2018, only those 5 wards made endorsements by a Democratic vote of committee persons. And there's something crazy about that. 5 out of 69 wards. So I wrote the book because I wanted people to know that there were stirrings of change. And in 2014, quite a few groups, Young Involved Philadelphia was very influential here, Neighborhood Networks, National Organization for Women, we all ran little workshops to encourage our members and citizens in general to run for committee person. We had a little bit of success. The fact that we had as much success as we did was due to Stephanie Singer, former city commissioner. She went all over the city conducting workshops. She would do a workshop for any group. They were nonpartisan workshops. And she really provided people with the information that the Democratic Party has never wanted to provide. They haven't wanted to publicize it. Hey, there are opportunities to run for committee person, and this is what you have to do. So if people did learn about it, they learned about it too late to file their petitions. And Stephanie walked people through the entire process. It's really very easy. Unless you're in a contested election, you only need 10 to 15 signatures. Something's happening out there. I mean, it is really exciting. For the first time in 20 years, we now have flipped a ward. And we have at least 2, probably 4 new wards that are going to be democratic and transparent. I would say definitely 3. And what's happening now is kind of interesting. A lot of the energy is coming from organizations outside the Democratic Party, Indivisible, Reclaim. It varies from locality to locality, but there is this push from progressive groups outside the Democratic Party to elect progressive candidates. We saw it in New York, Ocasio-Cortez. It's happening. And what I think is particularly exciting about what's happening in Philly, people who are involved in groups like Indivisible, Reclaim, etc., are also getting involved in the Democratic Party and building those ties between the outside progressive groups, if you want to call it that, and the insiders within the Democratic Party. And that's really exciting because that's where real change can come. And somebody's got to do this, to bring together people who have a commitment to a fair process, democratic procedures, and spread the idea of open democratic wards. People in traditional wards are going to start thinking, hey, wait a minute, why does my ward leader decide who we endorse? Why don't I have a say in that? So the idea will spread, and sometimes you get to a tipping point, and it happens very, very quickly. And we might be at that tipping point. The judicial stuff is a tremendous problem because the judicial races fund the local Democratic Party. The judicial candidates, they're not political people. They don't know how to run. They'd like to be a judge. They have to go through this political process. So they pay people to help them get elected. I think if only we could go to some appointive system, another way of selecting judges. Merit selection's a term a lot of people don't like. I wish we'd come up with a better term for it. But a lot of the corruption in the Democratic Party involves judicial elections. And it's a tremendous problem. And not only does does money change hands between judicial candidates and ward leaders, or judicial candidates and trial lawyers who might appear before them. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible system, really bad. Another aspect of it is we lose good people. I've known people who would like to be judges, but they don't want to get down in the gutter. Well, a lot of wards have vacancies, and that's an opportunity to look around for some new people who'll be interested in getting involved. 3.0 actually put up something very interesting and helpful about the wards in which there were vacancies. I mean, that is a guide right there. Another thing, the Ninth Ward has had a tradition of having associate committee people, and that's what I hope to become so I can continue some involvement in the ward. You can't vote, but you help out in ward activities, and you can come to the meetings and participate in discussions, and it's a way of involving people who are not elected committee people. A lot of the old guard are hoping that their children and their grandchildren will become the new ward leaders. There is that tradition in Philly politics, but I think we now have a critical mass of young people who are new to the process. They haven't grown up in the Democratic Party, and I think that will be I hope will be a counter to that tradition of nepotism that we've had.